Hi, we're picking up just where we left off, and we just finished a few minutes ago knitting our heel flap and turning that heel. So you should now have this really cool heel turn set up, and now you can see it's starting to look a bit like a sock. Starting to take on some form of a sock here. There we go. There we go. Okay. So we're ready to now pick up the gusset stitches. What does that mean? It sounds very scary. We're going to, from the back of the heel, we're going to pick up stitches all the way around, all the way back, so that we're back to knitting in the round. So the next step here is to slip all of these instep stitches back onto one needle. We'll need that extra needle to work with here in a second. Make sure you didn't lose any. Go ahead and count. You should have 40 if you're working the larger size, and you should have 36 if you're working the smaller size. Go ahead and take all of those back off of the second needle you had them on, and they're going to be back on one needle. There we go. Make sure you didn't lose any now. Okay, I'm at 40. Perfect. So I'm ready to set up here and start picking up gusset stitches on the heel side. Pause if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and move on. On the heel side, we're going to knit to the center. So go ahead and verify your count here. Again, your count's not going to be the same, so go ahead and find the center. I have 22. My center is going to be at 11. Excuse me, right there. So I'm going to knit to 11 stitches to get to the center, and then I will have the heel divided onto 2 needles, which will put me back in that needle 1, 2, and 3 configuration. So the center of the heel will be between needle 1 and needle 3. There we go. Make sure you're at the center. Very good. Oh, I got one extra, so let me take that back off. Okay, so there's my center. So now I've got needle 1 and needle 3 reestablished. With needle 1, I'm going to take my spare needle and knit across needle 1. And this is a knit with me project more than it's a tutorial, so I'm actually knitting this sock as we go, just as you are. If you have questions, shoot them to me. You can reach me on the Knitting Lodge Resource Center, in the Knitting Lodge community on Google+. Just contact me directly on Google+ or through the Yarn Mountain page, or via email at Christina@yarnmountain.com. So there's many ways to get a hold of me if you have a question. Don't feel free to post right here on the videos as well. Excuse me. So we're at the end of this of needle 1, and now we've got this large expanse of stitches to pick up. If you knit the larger size, you will have 20 stitches to pick up. If you knit the smaller size, you'll have 18. And remember when we slipped at the edge of the rows on, can you see those slip stitches? That's why we slipped the first stitch of each row as we were knitting that heel flap, so that we can pick them up easier. So with your yarn in the back, you simply find the underneath of that first row. There you go, and you can see the 2 ribs of that over. With needle 1, continuing on with the same needle, we're going to knit those onto the needle. There's 1, okay, and you're going to find all 20. It's like a scavenger hunt. Sometimes easier said than done. There. It's very smooth to see those. Go pick up underneath. Under there with your needle 1. And that means you're going to end up with how many stitches on needle 1? 31. That's right, because you started with 11. You're picking up 20. And then we're going to decrease those back down to our original number. There we go. And see, with this darker yarn, excuse me, which is typical for a men's color of a sock. It's a little harder to see those stitches. That's okay. Just look for the V. Look for the V in the top of the stitches. Pick those up. This is not an exact science. I'm going to get it as close as we can. Don't get frustrated. Remember, it's just sticks and yarn, and you're in control. All right. I'm going to try finding that just with needle 1. Sometimes it's a little bit easier that way. And we're going to work our way around. Now, this is a little bit tedious to watch. I hope you're knitting with me at the same time, and not just watching this for the entertainment value. You might not get much. There we go. Finally. Those two they were hiding from me. I'm sure you'll have some like that too. Like I said, don't get frustrated. It's just sticks and yarn. See now, that one I missed. Take the time to get them though. Take the time to pick up the right stitches and get them right. Let go. If it gets too much, just let go. Pull it tight again. You're not going to drop a stitch because you haven't. These are already knit. There. Found my bump again. Go back underneath. There. Now I can get that stitch. Pull my yarn back around to the back. Knit it. And move on. All right. It's tight here because you're picking up stitches. So you're asking the yarn to give way and give you extra room. There we go. Moving right along. And we're going to follow this line along until we get back to needle 2. Like I showed you said, if you end up with 21 stitches or you end up with 19 stitches, it's not a big deal. We can make that correction as we go along. Don't unknit anything at this point. Just work your way to the end. Picking up, like I said, if it's too hard to see, maybe you can get a brighter light or something to help you see those stitches more clearly. I sometimes wear a baseball cap with little lights under the brim. It's terribly geeky, but I love it. And it also works well for knitting in the car at night. Well, not while I'm driving, but while my husband's driving. He doesn't like to drive with lights on. So it's a good way for me to stay busy while we're at a long drive. Anyway, that works here as well. Sometimes we're picking up stitches. It's just a little extra light. You can get that with a lamp or whatnot too. So it'll be fun to see how many stitches you end up with at the end, right? Excellent. Okay, we're getting close to the end now. On this last one, I've knit all the way up. Okay, that was my last pickup. It looks a little like there's a little bit of a hole there. I might want to do that one over. See that? That might be too much of a hole. Let me look for that stitch again. Yeah, make that a little bit cleaner. There we go. Okay. And then one little tip is to Get that in there. Knit one more down below, a couple stitches below back here, just to close up any gap that might form between these needles as you're picking these up. So it doesn't matter where, just any stitch underneath there. Well, your yarn needs to be in back first, but just one stitch along there. Perfect. And knit that one in as well. Here, do it the right way. And that will just kind of close any extra gap that might form there. So now, let's go ahead and count. See how we did. I ended up with 29. So somewhere along there I could have picked up 2 more stitches. It's fine. We'll make that correction a little bit later on. Don't get hung up on that. And now, the easy part. We just simply, now maintaining our pattern, we're going to knit 2 purl 2 across of here. We want to maintain that. If you're taking the ribbing down the front per the pattern, you don't need to. You can take, you can just start your stockinette stitch here, in which case you'd knit straight across. I'm going to maintain the ribbing because the 80 stitches, while it fits great on my husband's leg, is a little bit loose on his foot. So you make that determination on whether or not you want to carry the ribbing down the foot. If you do, here's where you would just maintain your pattern. If you don't and you want to be done faster, then by all means zip on across in stockinette, just plain knit stitches, and you'll be able to do the rest of the foot that way. It'll go much faster for you. My mother used to say if there were 2 ways to do something, an easy and a hard, I would always choose the hard. So maybe that's what I'm doing here. But it does fit his foot better, so I have a reason as well. Just go ahead and knit. A good time to recheck your stitch count too, since we've done some shuffling around, is to make sure that you're still sitting at 40 stitches for the larger size and 36 stitches for the smaller size. There we go. Excellent. And I know there's a lot of lag time in this video as we work across these places. Go ahead and keep up with me. Pause it when you need to and knit along with me. This is meant to be more of an interactive tutorial than a classroom type of setting. So don't just watch and learn, but go ahead and play along. Okay, there's my last knit 2 purl 2 across. All right, so that's needle 2. Doesn't look any different than it did before. But now we still have this big expanse of stitches to pick up, and needle 3 is way down here. But we're going to start here at the top with a new needle. And we're just going to pick up and knit these stitches. You can use needle 3 to help yourself along. But again, you're looking for this slip stitch that we did in the heel flap, on the sides of the heel flap. See it there? Nice and pretty. That's what you want to find all the way down, and it will curl inward on this side. So just move your yarn out. Remember that cheater stitch we put back here to help us with a gap? We want to do another one before we take off here. So let's just find one here. Randomness, and pick that up. There we go, one. Let that go. So we've got our cheater stitch, and then we look for our first slip stitch. There it is. And then we'll start pulling off. Now I ended up with 19 on the first side, so we'll see what I end up with here. Like I said, don't despair if they're not exactly even, because you will be able to correct that as we go, and I'll show you how. Not going to leave you hanging. All right. So work with me now, and we're going to pick up these stitches. Notice I'm just using my finger. You can use the needle if you'd like, just to pick up those stitches, just the end. Leave those stitches on it that are already on it, and just pick those up so it's easier for yourself to grab the other needle. But you're really adding them to the spare needle as we go. What I do. So they're ended up in the needle on your right side, and filling this needle as we go across. And if one gets a little goofy on it, it's okay. Just let go. There's nothing, you're not going to unravel anything. There's no loose live stitches there. You're just picking up existing stitches and knitting. And keep uncurling it there so you can find the slip stitches on that side. Those are the ones you want to make a nice clean pickup across. There you go. I let the two needles do the work here and help each other out and pick up the stitches. Be interesting to see how many we end up with again. So go ahead and work with me here. This is a chance for you to work along beside me and not just watch and learn, but actually get the joy of experiencing this as well. This is not the favorite part of a sock for a lot of people. It's challenging, but it doesn't have to be. Just take your time and look for those slip stitches from the beginning, from the heel flap. They're there. You put one on the end of every row. It's just a challenging, I understand, if the yarn is hard to see. Like I said, it's okay if you're off a stitch or two because we can fix it. We can fix it. See, they're starting to add up. We're almost there. Don't give up on me now. I'm loosening up as I'm getting closer. Isn't that funny? All right. Oh, they're acting up. I find them easier to see in the lighter color than the darker color. So if you are using a dark color yarn like I am, you can see that that's a bit challenging here as well. And like I said, a brighter light would help to see those easier. So if you want to go ahead and find a lamp, go ahead and pause me. I'll wait. And then we're back to needle one. Well, a little gap there. Let's see if we catch a little bit better. Closing that up. So we're back to needle 3. Looks like I've got one more in there. Oops. More than that, it looks like I dropped a stitch there. So let me pick that stitch back up. Put it back where it needs to go. Reknit it here. And watch that. You should have had 11 on that. I did anyway. I had 11 left on my 80 stitches. Okay. So now I can go ahead and knit that stitch. Pull it snug. And I am back to the center. Voila, we have completed the pickup stitches for our gusset. Doesn't sound like very exciting, but I know that you're feeling a little bit of excitement right now, like you've actually reached the next stage, which you have. And what we're going to do on our gusset decreases. We're going to knit one time all the